We're going to be reading the book The Skeleton Tree, Only the Wild Survive, written by Ian Lawrence. When I wake in the night, I'm afraid. I lie staring through blackness, listening for every sound from the forest. I can't see the ceiling or the walls of the cabin. I can't see Frank, and for the moment I'm sure he's gone. But then through the darkness comes the fluttery sound of his breathing, and I feel safe to know he's near. I used to be scared all the time, and nights were the worst. When the sun went down, I felt like screaming. I'm not the same anymore. I've learned many things about the forest and the sea, and many things about myself. But when I wake in the dark, I'm afraid. Out of the forest, something is waiting. It's staying as still and as silent as I am. Both of us listening. Is it the grizzly bear? I can imagine it standing, huge and shaggy, right beside the cabin, just the thickness of the wall away. But it might be a wolf. We've heard from them singing every night a little bit closer. Or could it be a man? Or it could even be a skeleton. I've heard them stirring in their coffins. These are things from my nightmares, and they loom in my mind in a terrifying cycle. I always think of the worst things first, but it's probably a squirrel out there, or a deer that will flee in the moment, crashing through the forest in leaps and bounds. I hope it's my night black raven, come home at last from his wandering, but I'm afraid to call out. Through the cabin wall, through the stillness of the night, we must feel each other waiting. We just two creatures in the darkness. I don't know how much time passes before the window begins to brighten. Maybe it only feels like hours. But long before the sun will rise, the square of the plastic starts to shine with a light gray. Shadows of trees appear like etches on a slate. Through the cracks of the cabin walls shine little gleams of gold. With morning my fears vanish, and so does that thing in the forest. There's no burst of noise, no thundering feet. I don't hear it leave, but I know it's gone. I have lived long enough in the wilderness that I sense things like that. Quickly now, the darkness of the cabin dissolves into shadows, and the shadows change as they harden. Mushrooms sprout from the floor and become the stones of the fire circle. A skinny-legged beast morphs into our driftwood table. Monstrous men stand in the corner, then slip into the plastic capes that hang from their pegs. I see the stack of firewood, the bottles of water, the shoes piled high beneath the table. I guess I went a bit stupid with the shoes. I see all the things I've carried from the beach, the stuff Frank calls junk. But to me it's important because it came across the sea from Japan. I like to wonder about those things, to invent their stories. Near the floor where Frank is sleeping, pale scratches in the wall mark the days that have passed. They're just squashed together, blurred into one long smudge, just like the days themselves. 30, 40, 50 of them, and all the same. Then I remember that this day is different. Today is the day that we will be saved. It's still early, at least an hour till dawn, but I can't wait that long. I have to go down to the skeleton tree. I roll out of bed and crouch over Frank. Not long ago I would have been afraid to wake him like this. He would have gotten very angry very fast. But this morning I think he won't mind. I shake him by the shoulder, shouting his name, and his hands swing up to fight me. He springs away with a cry, thumping his back against the cabin wall. His eyes are huge and startled, and when he sees me he groans. "Oh, what's the matter with you?" he asks. "Are you crazy?" "Today's the day," I tell him. "Stop shouting," he grumbles. I can't understand why he isn't excited. Frank's only 3 years older than me, not even 16. But sometimes he seems almost grown up. He scratches his matted hair and squints at the window. "It's not even morning, Chris." "But they might be landing right now," I tell him. "Don't you want to see that?" He coughs and shakes his head. You go ahead. I want to sleep some more. But start the fire first. I'm cold. Even a month ago, it would have made me angry to be told what to do. But now I know it's just Frank's way. I squat by the circle of stones and scrape at all the ashes with a small stick. The coals underneath are still warm and glimmering. In their glow I see my breath, a little red cloud like dragon's fire. I arrange a few twigs and sprig of dry moss, and as I lean forward to blow on the embers, smoke rises into my eyes, making me squint. But flames come quickly. I'm an expert now at starting fires. Maybe better than Frank. I add more wood. The smoke grows thick and ropey, swirling up to the ceiling and out through the hole. I can imagine pictures forming in front of me, images that whirl apart and form again. My Uncle Jack told me once that if you look too long at a fire, it will steal your thoughts away. He was right. Up next, Chapter 2.